Right, this is energy system training on the AirRunner, specifically for the AirRunner, and we'll have some big concepts here. Obviously, if it's not obvious, energy system training unto itself is a pretty big thing. Remember that intention and the specific modality and the person largely dictates what people are going to be doing for energy system training, but we'll give a roundabout idea as to how we can get to the point of you actually putting energy system in place on the AirRunner. You may have just heard in my language that intention does matter. Energy system training on the AirRunner, we're going to have this global concept of an overarching theme that says sustainability is the primary concept we're going after for the AirRunner. And the reason for that is that we don't just want you being able to express on the AirRunner. We want you understanding that on this modality, it's different than on the modality of an air bike, than on the modality of a rower, than on the modality of a skier, on the modality of swimming, modality of versa climber, modality of double unders. All these cyclical modalities, we want you to know that it does vary on this. And if it does vary with the power time curve and how you express it, we want you to make sure that you can do this as much as you want forever. With other modalities, let's take the air bike just as a simple example, you can possibly, with the right amount of strength, express all three areas of gain, pain, and sustain. And a lot of people can express just those three if they have enough strength. But not everyone can express pain or gain on the AirRunner. There's a lot more things that need to take place in order to get there. Those things are volume and efficiency. And you can't actually express things that are further down the chain in regards to this specific modality in our intentions for being as sustainable as possible if you don't have that big amount of volume and technical proficiency in place for it, okay? And there's a lot more to that, but it's largely based upon the previous stuff we talked about for biomechanics and the actual forces that are at play when you run in relation to the forces that are at play when people do other modalities. So yes, biking is not like air running. Ski erg is not like air running. Rowing is not like air running, and we need to treat it as such to have its own energy system progression. So overarching theme for this entire intention on energy system training is to make someone as sustainable as possible. Secondarily, we want to teach people how to progress and train, sustain, pain, and gain on the AirRunner. That's our secondary intention for that. Some reviews on what's called expression. So when we talked about person, intention, and modality, that's what largely dictates the effect of what you're going to get in any kind of dose response. We have to remember that people need to be able to express anything before they want to partake in that. And that basically just means that they need to have the capability. So we're going to look at the person. I'm going to give you some ideas as to how strong someone needs to be in our assessment of this before you get into progressing in energy system training. But they need to be able to actually express that which you want to train. If you want to train sustain, you need to be able to express it effectively. You want to train pain, you need to be able to express it effectively. If you want to train gain, you need to be able to express it effectively such that you can recover from each of these expressions such that it leads to adaptation. The word adaptation means that you not only did express and recover from whatever you tried, you learned to get better. Because adaptation means that you learned something to get better at it. And that closes the gap so that when you want to, I guess close the gap is on our mind, but yeah, it does close the gap so that when you want to express again, you express correctly with this new thing that you learned, if that makes sense, okay? So if you express sustain correctly and you can express it and you recover from it and you learn, you'll be able to express sustain again and you'll get better at it. And that's the context we want to have before any energy system training that we apply here so that you understand not only the progressive means of moving through energy system training for the AirRunner, but you understand that not everyone can express that which we have down here on the whiteboard for it, okay? We are going to go in a progressive format, begin with the overarching intention being sustainability on the AirRunner. We're going to go with progression from sustain down towards gain. I already mentioned why that is, based upon sustainability and efficiency of stride through volume. And we're going to do that through sustainable means. And then we'll move into faster rates, which become unsustainable. And then we'll get into practicing and knowing what it means to go really fast. So in our language of sustain, pain, and gain, in energy system in general, it just means that we can express different kinds of energy, and there's certain limitations that are imposed that don't allow us to express those things after a period of time. So with gain, just to reorganize our thinking on that, gain is an expression of stored energy that is unsustainable, but you basically are trying to get rid of all the energy that you just stored up, and it's not in the presence of unsustainable metabolic effects, okay? What is pain? Pain is that you're trying to extend that energy out to learn about unsustainability and to get a metabolic effect. And sustain activities is such that you're trying to do a specific amount of work so that you can sustain it for as long as possible. So in other language, this would be called CPATP. It could be called alactic scenarios, right? It's non-lactic scenarios. Pain could be called glycolytic. O2 debt situations, lactic scenarios, right? And sustainable could be called oxidative, aerobic capacity. It could be called different kinds of terms. This is just an overarching idea of what each of these mean. Now, with regards to how we're going to progress it, last point again as a review, we're going to progress it through sustainable means, such that you could express pain more effectively, such that you could express gain should you wish to do that, okay? And in that order will allow us, again, with our overarching theme of being sustainable on the AirRunner, to do it with all different kinds of things. So also then when we move into mixed modal pain and sustain, you'll see that a great base of this just through the AirRunner, through these energy systems, will be more effective. As a concept, we're going to explain what strong enough and what walk, run, and all these things mean. But you can see to the end what we want in a the overarching, I guess, ideas, what I want you guys as coaches and people to go away with, they're going to be participating on the AirRunner, is to keep maintaining a level of strength and being able to do all different forms of sustain, pain, and gain. And the way we do it is this direction. So we have to have some kind of an idea as to what strong enough means, which I will lay out in assessment. And we want to be strong enough and be able to walk with volume. Because remember we talked about that gap that we're trying to close between the walk-run atmosphere. And as we get with enough work that's done here, it allows us to keep doing strength work that allows us to stay strong enough to do walk-run programs, right? And this is essentially where sustain really begins, right? And then that can move you into pure running sustain programs, which we'll talk about and lay out how to train sustain effectively while still doing strength programs. Your strength program is still going to stay now when you do sustain, but now you're going to add an element, should you wish to, after volume's accumulated with sustain, into running faster. So run with sustain and run P. Run P just means run faster. As you progress over time with strength, with volume, with running faster, you now can get into the area of running the fastest. So running fastest would be an expression of stored energy. Running faster would be such that you want it to be unsustainable, such that you gas out and you're trying to get a metabolic effect from it. And then such that you could run to be sustainable means that you're going to run for a long period of time in an oxidative state, okay? So that's really a broad, inclusive concept of energy system training, but it's really important that you remember our overarching intention for why we're doing energy system training on the AirRunner is to make you as sustainable as possible. And if you get sustainability and you're able to do sustainability effectively, it can allow you to train in pain. Pain meaning, of course, glycolytic scenarios or lactic scenarios. And then if you train through that pain, you can essentially get enough volume built in so that you can be strong enough to express gain for whatever that is worth to your training based upon that. And then eventually over time, I would like it as a long-term goal for everyone to be able to express all different forms of energy system training on the AirRunner, but we're going to get there through sustain, pain, into gain, along with being strong enough. So coming up, we're going to go through an assessment to give you more clear ideas as to what this actually means, and then we're going to get into showing you exactly how to train each one, both by itself on the AirRunner and in mixed modal settings, and then see how it carries over to sport long-term.